What's up, HyperFast Agent Nation? On this episode of the show, I have the privilege of interviewing a real estate agent that started off as a lender before making the switch. She's also a mother of two, very active in her community, and is on pace to more than double her business this year during the coronavirus, the lockdowns, all of that. So she is a great example of how to expand, not contract. Welcome to the show, Ashley McDougal. Welcome to the show, Ashley. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to having you on, and another one of our coaching students. So always great to connect with our coaching members on the show. Before we dive into what you've been doing in your business lately, which is very exciting, why don't you give the listeners a little bit of background about who you are and how you got into real estate and what your business is like today.
Yeah, so I am a realtor in Hampton Roads, Virginia. So Norfolk, Hamptons, Newport News, Virginia Beach, that area. I was a mortgage lender for about 13 years. And the reason I went into mortgage lending is my mom was a realtor. And so growing up, I never wanted to do what she did. I wanted my own thing. And so I went into mortgages, loved it. 2008 happened and I was burnt out. So I came over to real estate and I absolutely love what I do. Love it.
Awesome. So that's an interesting story that you were in mortgage, switched to real estate. What prompted that switch? And were you in mortgage in the same market that you're a realtor in?
I am. So I definitely was in the same market. The switch happened for me, I think, because I started to get very close with some of the real estate agents that I worked with as their lender. And I just saw what else I could do that wasn't being done. And especially with the background that I had with financing, I think, giving that aspect of the transaction and being able to have an educated realtor is so important. And so I made the switch overnight. I called my husband and I said, oh, by the way, I'm flying to Texas to visit my girlfriend, and Monday I start real estate school. So so good thing he holds tight for my crazy ideas, and we did it, and here we are. So
how was how did he take that news?
Well, he's kind of used to my crazy out-of-the-box thinking. So the poor guy has been through a little bit in our 18 years of being married. So he's used to that, but that one was a little tough for him. But after the first 4 or 5 months of him seeing the difference of lending versus real estate, he definitely understood and was glad about the move as well.
Yeah, I'm sure you had a pipeline that you kind of walked away from on the lending side. So how quickly did it take you to get on the real estate side to where you were on the lending side, or whatever level you were there?
Yeah, so my first closing was about 5 months into it. One of the things that I vowed, because as we all know, real estate is a small world, and when you're in a market, you tend to do business with the same people over and over again. So one of the things that I vowed was that I was going to leave all of my lending clients because they had agents, and I was starting from the ground up. And it took me about 4 months, and then I broke the seal, and I haven't looked back.
Wow, that's just a unique transition. I haven't come across a lot of people that have done both. So you have a very unique perspective, I'm sure, that you can bring to your clients right now, right? You've seen the financing side and you understand it better than probably like 99.9% of all agents. So what's some advice that you can give to real estate agents on how to better advise their clients when it comes to the financing lending side?
I think the best advice to give a real estate agent, and I know in our marketplace there is a little bit of a relational, a lot of times agents act as though the lender works for them. And yes, they do. They absolutely do work for them. But I think creating a fluid energy around that relationship and having that bond with your lender to where you can ask them questions, have them school you on trigger questions to ask your clients to kind of start formulating if this person is truly qualified. Are they not qualified? Where do we stand with them? I think the biggest thing that I see a lot of agents slacking in is they look at lenders as a source of income or a source of marketing money, which truly they should look at them as a partner versus just marketing money.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, I think a good lender that can act fast and deal with issues that clients have, or figure out ways to get to closing. When there's an issue with a potential loan, like those kind of stuff, that can add up to a lot more than any marketing budget, I think. So.
Absolutely. And I think lenders, you have to find one that has, and I'll say this loosely, but a good bedside service. They have to be able to answer their phone on the weekends. They aren't just a 9 to 5. I'm huge on local lenders. I only work with local lenders. And I hate to say that, but if you were my favorite, you are definitely a local lender, because I want a place that I can go to your office and I can ask questions and I can send my client to your office. That's really important to me.
Yeah, I think that helps. I mean, I've done deals with local and national lenders, and I always find that the local guys typically, not always, but typically, you've got a better chance at responses with them. And it seems like the bigger the bank, the harder it is to get people to respond.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And I've also noticed, regional geographic differences, just because I've had a lot of experience in the DMV area, and then some, personal investing in Florida. And I always find it a lot harder to get a lender down there to talk to me. And so I think there's differences in, areas as well. So really having like the local knowledge and knowing which ones to get in touch with, I think can make or break the deal.
For sure. And we're such a heavy military community here in Hampton Roads that you really want to make sure your lender knows the insides and outs of a VA loan. And a lot of times everybody says, oh, it's just an easy deal. But there are some things that you have to know and you have to be prepared for with a VA loan, that if your lender has no idea, it could really mess up, the whole transaction.
Hey, hold that thought for a minute. Do you want to take your real estate business to the next level? If you do, there's no reason to go it alone. Learn from people who've been where you want to go. Keri and I have sold billions of dollars in real estate. We've netted over 7 figures for 7 years in a row now, and we want to see if you would be a good fit to work for us. We don't work with a lot of people, but we want to give you a chance to get on a free strategy call to see if we can help you get your business to the next level. Go to hyperfastcoach.com and apply for your discovery session today. Again, that's hyperfastcoach.com.
Yeah, that's a really great point, especially in your area. What percentage of your business tends to be military, would you say?
Oh, I would say mine is probably about 75%.
Okay, wow. So you're doing a lot of VA loans, probably, right?
A lot, and I do heavy listing side, and I would say most of the buyers in our area are using a VA loan.
And just so people know, because I don't think I asked up front, but how much business did you do last year, and what do you think you'll do this year in 2020?
So last year I did about 9 million, and this year I'm already exceeding that by $1 million. So we're super stoked about that, and I can only say it's because the biggest ingredient that I've changed to my business is coaching with you guys. So,
well, that's I mean, to you're on pace to more than double then. So
yeah.
that is amazing. And you know, I'm glad that you're getting the benefit from coaching with us in the HyperFast Agent program and Keri, and you know, it's just amazing to see that, especially in this market. So you know, on the tactical level, like, you know, we've had COVID, lockdowns, all that kind of stuff. Like, what have you done to you know, be on pace to double your businesses this year? Like, what tactical things have you done that you think other agents could do?
Well, I think one of the greatest pieces of advice that you guys have given us, and I think it goes without saying, is in a time like this, you have to pivot, not pause. And so when you have that ringing in your ear the whole time, when everybody else has decided to be defeated, and you stand up and you're like, we're going to make this happen. So one of the biggest things that I've done is I've started doing the off-market letters. Every week I send off-market letters every week. We are a heavy industry here too. We've got Amazon coming here. We've got a lot of industry movement. So we have need moves, not just want moves here. And so those off-market letters are just killing it right now. I'm getting such a great response, and it's measurable response. Phone calls, I sent a group of off-market letters. I probably sent 100, and I've gotten 4 out of just that 100.
That's a killer response rate for those of you who don't know. For something in the mail, like usually like 1% is unheard of. So to be at 4, that's just tremendous. What's the inventory, you know, supply of buyers to sellers look like down there? I assume you've got low inventory if you're having that. If you're at the point where you're having to, you know, find a lot of off markets for your buyer clients.
Very low. We are at a spot right now. I actually showed a few houses last Friday, and we stood in line in the driveway. So we are truly stood in line to get in.
Wow, 6 feet apart.
Yeah, 6 feet apart for sure, with our mask on. But yeah, we certainly are in a spot of, I mean, our inventory is so low, and certain price points, it is ridiculously low. So.
And is that something that's been there for a while, or did COVID make it a lot worse, or how did it get to this level?
We walked into January 1 pretty low. So January 1 was, it almost kind of exploded a little bit. And we were manipulating through it. It wasn't too terrible. And then once COVID hit, it just got extremely, extremely low. And then we have the other market fluctuations with the lower interest rates right now. So you have buyers who are ready to buy, and there's so much pent up demand right now. Just because there's nothing on the market.
Right. So there's more demand, the interest rates are low, and more sellers probably want to hit the pause button than buyers. So I think in most markets you're getting this effect of, you know, inventory being less than it was going into COVID, which is like the opposite of what a lot of people might have thought, you know, with what the stock market was doing and jobs and all of that. So it's very challenging if you're a buyer in a lot of markets, and sounds like yours definitely, you know, is in that camp. What's been the response? So you've been doing these off-market letters. For people who don't know, that's like a letter you're using to generate seller leads, you know, for buyers that you have, like, looking for that type of home. And now has that led to, you know, buyers actually buying these homes off market, or maybe it's an or and actually, but, you know, is it also giving you listing leads because maybe that match isn't perfect for the buyer, they end up not liking it, or how's the response been? What has it done for your business?
Yeah, so it's been a little bit of a mix. I definitely have had some good connection with a buyer and an off-market house. But for the most part, the average mix is the seller is so taken back by an agent that's willing to come after them versus them coming to the agent that they have me in. They don't interview anybody else because they've already made their mind up that, you know, I'm an active realtor in such a market doesn't seem to be active to them. So I have gotten multiple listings off of those letters, and even have some that are getting the house we haven't listed yet, but are in the pipeline to list. So it's been a real mix of a result.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting, like what happens when you're just going out, being active, trying to solve someone's problem. Like you've got this buyer, right, that can't find the home they want, and then by going above and beyond what the typical agent may do, which is just look in the MLS, like you're actually going out trying to solve their problem of not having the right home, and sometimes that bears fruit for that specific buyer, and other times it doesn't. But in either case, it's showing a bunch of sellers that, hey, Ashley is someone who will go the extra mile to help her clients. And, you know, if this home doesn't work out for her buyer, well, I'm going to consider her, or maybe I'm only going to consider her for listing the house.
Right. And your buyer falls more in love with who you are as an agent because they really feel like you have their best interest. That you say, okay, look, there's 1,800 houses on the market right now. None of them fit your needs. Let me find the one that's for you versus you find the one, let's not fit you in what's available. Let's find the perfect home for you. So a lot of the buyers, they just think it's amazing that you would take that extra step to do that. So it leads to more buyer leads because they then turn around and tell all their friends, you won't believe what my agent did for me, because it is so different.
So you're communicating to the buyers about this process and the steps you take to find these off-market homes?
Oh, absolutely. Because when you've got a market like this and you've shown a buyer 10 houses and none of them fit their needs, they start to get a little on the defeated side. And when you bring this up to them, you're like, well, don't get defeated. I'm going to send a letter out. We've defined the area you want to be in. I'm sending a letter to every person that owns a home in there, and we're going to find the right one for you. And to them, it gives them hope that, okay, maybe we will find the right one because this market does not show any sign of me finding the perfect house that's already on the market. So it does delay the defeat in such a low inventory market for your buyer.
Hey, hold that thought. Do you want to get 100 tips for free from my best-selling real estate book, The Hyperlocal HyperFast Real Estate Agent? If you do, go to hyperfasttips.com and you can download 100 of my best tips today. Again, that's hyperfasttips.com. You can download 100 tips on how to grow your business, get more clients, deliver more value to more people. Go to hyperfasttips.com.
Yeah, I think it's a critical part of the step is telling them how you're going to do this, and that way they know, I haven't seen the right house yet, and inventory is low, but Ashley's out there generating letters, knocking on doors, getting in front of sellers that aren't on the market yet. I think it's important to remind everyone out there, and same is true with like a seller when you're trying to sell their home. Like you have to not only do the activities that will find, a buyer a house or get a home sold, but you have to communicate that back to the client, because they might not always see all this. And if they don't see it, they might assume it's just not happening. So.
Absolutely. And if they're a first-time home buyer, they think this is normal. They think every agent's going to do this. So you definitely want to convey to them how this is one of your, strategies to beat a low inventory market.
Have you had to, grow your team and hire more people this year, going from 10 million to 20 million. I don't think you told me your average price point, but I assume 20 million, in your market's going to be like 40, 50 homes. I'm not.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So my average is about 275. That's my average.
Maybe even more. It might be like, you might be on pace for like 60 or more this year.
I'm believing it. But yeah, we did. We've hired a marketing specialist, and currently I am growing a team of agents under me. So we're super excited about that as well, because I feel like with what we've got going, it's going to be great. And there's a lot to be learned in real estate. So it's going to be, we have about 4 other admin people coming on board.
Okay. So you're going to have 4, but by the end of the year, you'll have four admin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what will the agent side look like?
So I have 3 that are kind of sitting and waiting. And I have 2 agents that are already practicing real estate that have approached me about joining the team as well. So we potentially could be about 6. My goal is to be about a team of 10.
Okay. So that would be 10 agents or 10 total on the team.
10 agents, 4 admin.
Okay. Well, it's great that you're building out the admin side first. A lot of agents kind of go about it the wrong way, and they start off hiring another buyer's agent, and usually it's because they don't want to pay a salary.
Right.
So, and the issue with that, of course, is when you when you're a solo agent, you're doing all the admin work for yourself. When you go out and hire another buyer's agent, well, guess what? Now you're doing the admin work for you and that agent, and you're taking the activities, cost per hour kind of activities that you're doing down instead of up. So,
right.
Hiring the admin, staff first, at least the first 2 people, I think is always the way to go when you're going from solo agent to small team and then bigger team.
Yeah, that's good.
What else have you been doing since the coronavirus and lockdowns? I think I've seen on social media that you've actually been doing things that have generated a lot of PR and press for yourself, right?
Yeah. So when the COVID kind of hit our area, I know that I said we're high military, we're high industry, but one of the things that our area has more than anything is medical. We have EVMS, the Eastern Virginia Medical School. We've got the CHKD, the Children's Hospital. We just have a lot of medical stuff around here. And because of that, a lot of my clients tend to be in medical. We have the Portsmouth Veterans Hospital. And so I just happened to be strolling through Facebook and social media, and I started to see a common thread of a need. And it wasn't necessarily a tangible item that was a need. It was more of these medical professionals truly were getting to a spot where they were starting to get almost overwhelmed, would be a very, that doesn't even capture what they are, with all of the change with COVID and the things that they had to partake in because of COVID. So I randomly one day decided to put on Facebook that my family and I wanted to adopt a nurse. And we were going to just shower this nurse with gifts on a regular basis and just kind of connect with her. We didn't have to know her name. We just wanted to, or him, but we wanted to just shower them with just thanking them for what they did. Well, that quickly became, one of my past clients messaged me and said, "Hey, I have a connection at CHKD. Would you like it?" And I said, "Sure." That person then responded back and said, "Hey, I have 300 people that need what you want. Can you come up with somebody?" And I was like, yes, I can. I'll do it. So I made a Facebook page, and I just said, we called it Adopted Hospital Hero. And we just started putting it out there. And we kept putting it out. The TV station, our local news, actually picked it up, and I was on the evening news for 2 of our channels here. I was in the Virginia Pilot, which is our newspaper, and then the local newspaper here as well, about what we were doing. And basically all it was is you had 2 veins of being able to participate in Adopt a Hospital Hero. You could truly adopt a hospital hero, which would be like a resident or a doctor or a nurse. Or you could actually be a part of our weekly drop-offs. Each week we would drop off just little gifts, little thank yous. One of our themes, we had a theme every week, was This Shift is Bananas. We played off the song. And so we got a grocery store to donate a bunch of bananas, and we drew funny faces on them. And we dropped them off so that they would have a snack to eat in between patients, because believe it or not, they were so busy with the extra work of having to put on the protection gear of, the mask and the extra stuff that they were putting on. They really weren't getting breaks. They weren't getting water breaks. They weren't getting snack breaks, and they were just flat exhausted. So we just thought of things that they could utilize that would bring joy to them, because they were really, most of the healthcare people in this area were completely just wore out because of it, and still are. It's not stopped. So it got big.
So 300 people got helped from the group ultimately?
I would say probably more than that. We had about 60 people that were actually adopted. And then we would just drop off, I would say anywhere between 200 and 300 small gifts a week. And we did it in different areas, different hospitals. We did it at 3 different places each week. And it was just really great. And it was bananas, lotion, because at one point all of their faces were starting to burn because of the mask that they were wearing. Just little stuff. And all of the companies in the area were donating. We had Frito-Lay donated chips, Starbucks donated coffee for the night shift. So just everybody came together. It was amazing.
Wow, that's the story is amazing just on so many different levels. Like, one that you were just stepped up and kind of did, a lot of people might start asking questions. Sounds like you just were like, yeah, I'll do it. And then figured out a way and got the rest of, the community involved, and ultimately affected several hundred lives who are going through a time where they really needed it.
Yeah it's the letters that we were getting. You always look at these doctors as, they're the ones that diagnose us with really important things, and they're the ones that a conversation with them can change your whole life, but then you see them in need, and you see how heavy this was on them, and there was nothing but you just wanted to help. You just wanted to take that pressure off of them if they didn't already have enough pressure on them with their job, but to have this extra on them was just crazy. So it was really great.
Well, that's truly an amazing story, and what you've done, this year with helping the community, taking your business, to the next level, more than doubling during a time when a lot of people are contracting, and doing it while being, a mother and a wife. It's just amazing to see and very inspiring.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up, I want to do the HyperFast round, just a couple rapid fire questions if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. What's the biggest piece of advice you'd give to a new real estate agent?
Prospect, prospect, prospect. Every day you need to prospect. Whether that's handwritten note cards, phone calls, there has got to be at least 2 hours of your day prospecting.
Yeah, I think that's a simple but just great piece of advice that could impact the lives of so many people. Like if more agents starting out would just do 2 hours a day, like you said, and have the discipline, consistency, the success rate would be a lot better than it is.
Absolutely.
What about an experienced agent? What piece of advice would you give an experienced agent?
I think for an experienced agent, I think what I would definitely suggest for them is to find a mentor that is 2 steps ahead of them, and to find someone that they can strive to not reinvent the wheel, to take their game up.
All right. What's been the biggest challenge in your real estate career, and how did you overcome it, or what did you learn from it?
I would say the biggest challenge for me is probably balancing. I know everyone says this, balance. Is there truly a balance? It would be balancing being a mom and being an agent. And so I currently have a 17-year-old and a 12-year-old. My 17-year-old is embarking on his senior year of high school, which we're not sure what that looks like this year. And so he wrestles, and he's pretty competitive in wrestling. So balancing and making sure that I am never missing a wrestling match, but I am always there on the other side of the phone when a client calls. And the way that I figured that out is, number one, hiring the best admin staff I possibly could afford. That helps tremendously. And organizing, keeping myself organized, keeping my calendar to the T. And I'll be honest with you, I just hired a personal organizer just to do that, just to organize my life, because I knew that was such an important key to me growing as a realtor.
Yeah, I agree. Even, yeah, like you got to look at like everything like almost through a business lens, and you know the time spent at the wrestling match, you're not gonna ever get that chance again. So if you can hire someone to do just like easy mundane tasks that you might not even think of, like whether it's folding your laundry or fixing your calendar or helping with client gifting or scheduling, like that the money you spend on that's going to help you make more money, but B, like give you more of that time with your family.
Right, because who knew last year the last wrestling match could possibly have been his last. We may not wrestle this year because of all of the COVID. So had I said, oh, I have next year, I would have missed some pretty important things. So
yeah, no, that's a great perspective and point to make. So if you're out there thinking about making that first hire or the next hire, just do it. Figure it out and get it done.
Yeah.
When you're not selling real estate, what would we find you doing most likely?
On a wrestling match, on the side of a soccer field. We just got a chocolate lab, so that's been a lot of fun. He's 6 months old, but he's 85 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And really, I'm probably going to be at home hanging out with the kids. That's probably what you'll find me doing. I love to be in my community. So we do a lot of community events in my front yard. We have a client event on every second Friday of the month called Front Porch Friday, and all of my neighbors come and all of the clients that I closed that month, and we just hang out. So just kind of hanging out at the house and doing life in my community.
Awesome. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? This is the last one, by the way.
Okay. In 5 years, I would like to see our team at a strong 10 full-time agents with the admin staff to support that. I think I would like to see a lot of growth personally in me. I know there is, and that's another thing. If you're a seasoned agent and you have been, I hate that word seasoned, by the way, but if you're an agent that's been doing real estate and practicing real estate, always knowing that there's room to grow is so important. Making sure that you know that you don't know everything is so very important. So I know there's a lot of that for me. I know I have a lot of growth, and I think having my team grow and be a well-oiled machine is where I'd like to see us in 5 years.
Awesome. Well, it's exciting to watch the growth you've already had, and hopefully, even more yet to come. So thank you for being on the show. And before we sign off, do you want to just remind everybody of what areas you serve, and also the best way, email or social media to get in touch with you if they want to learn more about you or connect with you?
Yeah, so I serve Hampton Roads. So recently we were renamed 757. You can reach me at Ashley at cell757. Certainly you can find me on all the social media platforms, and definitely reach out if you have any questions. I'm always here.
All right. Well, thank you, Ashley, for being on the show, and thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show. Subscribe to us if you want to make sure you get the latest and greatest HyperFast shows. And remember, we love reviews. Reviews help us bring better and better guests and improve our shows. So give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to see more, click right here. And if you're new to this channel, click below to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out. And leave some comments about what you think on the videos. I'll see you next time.